Welcome, guys. Excited to have you here. Today, I wanted to share with you how you can leverage Anywhere POD to help you upload faster. As we know on Etsy, having a rhythm when it comes to uploads makes all the difference. And I wanted to bring in Chris today so he can walk us through how we can get started and upload faster. And you just uploaded a new feature, right? Now we can upload directly from Canva, correct?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, thanks also for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we have really, in my opinion, it's the biggest kind of game-changing feature that I've seen released in print on demand in a really long time. That allows you to really automate the process between designing in Canva and getting your products launched faster and easier than ever before. Whether you're doing just kind of a non-personalized listing and importing it as a PNG, or even now, if you're doing a personalized listing, you can actually import that entire design from Canva with all of the layers set up exactly how you had it in Canva so that it imports to Anywhere POD as an editable template as though you created it in Anywhere POD to begin with. So really the speed at which you can move on creating some of these designs is out of this world.
I love that. So can you show us how it works so we can like get behind the scene?
Yeah, absolutely.
Share
Let me
screen.
share my
And
screen
and
here.
while you do that, so for everybody who just joined us, when it comes to being proficient and finding those winners on Etsy, obviously, in some level, speed does make all the difference, right? And you want to ensure that you have templates and a process in place so you can upload as many listings as possible to get an understanding of where there's opportunities, right? So uh, Chris has a software called Anywhere POD, which essentially allows you to add personalization to your products, which we also know can help you get more sales on Etsy. Part of the reason people love to shop on Etsy is because they can get that personalized factor. And it makes such a difference if you are a seller. And obviously, you want to find ways to automate that process versus having to do it manually, which is why a lot of time we recommend you use kind of like a third party software like Anywhere POD to help you through that process. But now it sounds like he's integrated, like you can essentially integrate directly with Canva templates. So that's going to completely change the game.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. It's all about, not just being another drop in the ocean, right? We have this
mhm.
huge, awesome marketplace of an ocean of Etsy, but it's really easy to just be another drop in the ocean and kind of go unnoticed. And you really need to
Yeah,
find those things backed up by data that's going to kind of push you ahead of some of the other people that are just kind of doing what everybody else is doing.
mhm.
And to do that, you got to have the data and you got to be able to test effectively and quickly. The more you can test, the quicker you can get to those winners and find out what is working. So
Mhm.
we know personalization is huge on Etsy. Etsy is basically doing the marketing for personalization for you. If you look at all of their major national wide ad campaigns, they're telling people go to Etsy for your personalized listings. So we know your
Yeah.
buyers are coming with a purchase intent to purchase something that can be personalized. And if you're not offering personalization, you're just leaving money on the table. So the personalization factor on top of the automation tools that we offer with Anywhere POD really kind of helps you set yourself apart from everybody else that's out there.
Absolutely. It makes such a difference. And sometimes it can be as simple as taking a bestseller and adding personalization, which I tell my students all the time. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just look at what is performing well. And is there an opportunity for you to add that personalization element? And that's going to make all the difference, guys. So again, like it's all about thinking outside the box and thinking as to how you can de-rank your competitors, right? And a lot of times it's just by adding that extra personalized element.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Because a lot of your competitors, they're not doing the extra steps because unless they're using Anywhere POD, it's a manual process to do personalization. It's a manual process to do group listings where you can give your customer the choice between multiple different product types. or to do artwork variations where now they can select from multiple different types of artwork. Like in the past, to do that, it was a completely manual process and took a really long time. So a lot of sellers just wouldn't do that. Even though if you look at a lot of the top performing listings, those are some of the strategies they're using to get up there because they're putting in the extra work. They're probably hiring a team of VAs to go in and do it. So we're taking something that used to really only be accessible if you're willing to spend a lot of manual time, hire a lot of VAs, whatever the case may be. We're really taking that, simplifying it down where now you're able, as a one-man shop, able to do some of these more advanced features that really just weren't accessible to you in the past.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned, right, it's all about taking that extra step. And so that is actually what differentiate a top 1% Etsy seller versus everybody else. And as somebody who's coached thousands of people, I can tell you this, the folks that put in the extra work are the ones who win. And the ones who are just trying to upload a few designs, they're not really thoughtful about it. They're not understanding that it's somebody, on the other hand, who's actually going to purchase this and trying to find ways to make it desirable for their customers. Those are the people who are not winning, right? So you're absolutely right. Like, I think a lot of time, this, not just personalization, but you're right, also bundles, which we talked about, I think last year. And I
Mm-hmm.
agree, like
Yep.
bundles can make all the difference. And within Anywhere POD, essentially, you have the ability to bundle up different products from different providers. Now, obviously, you have to take into consideration the shipping, but a lot of cases, I don't know if you guys noticed, like handmade Etsy sellers, that's kind of what they do, right? Like that's where they have an edge over print on demand sellers, is that they're able to create boxes where you might get like a Libby cup and you might get a candle and you might get this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you can do that yourself and create those bundles. Obviously, you have to create the thumbnails accordingly so people know that it's a bundle, but there's just so many opportunities, right? And so a lot of times, instead of trying to like have this like out of this world idea, like, oh my God, I need this out of this world design or have this like very specific niche, it's actually right in front of your nose. And it's just a matter of creating something that is unique, but in a different way, not necessarily from a design perspective. And that makes all the difference. Yeah.
Right. And like you said, it's all about, the people that are willing to put in the extra effort are the ones that win.
Mhm.
Well, now
Yeah.
with a tool like Anywhere POD, you're able to put in that extra effort without having to put in the extra time. Right. So like
Yeah.
traditionally do a lot of this stuff, it's a lot of extra time. So we want you to be able to focus as much of your time as possible on gaining that next sale, on doing the work and the research and creating the listings that's going to actually be what drives your next sale, right? Not have to spend
Mhm.
as much time servicing sales that you've already got by having to do things manually. So we automate that personalization process. And then also on the product creation process, we're adding more and more tools to be able to become a complete automation tool, not just for personalization, but across the board. Anything you want to do print on demand is going to be completely automated as much as possible through Anywhere POD. So you're able to spend more time doing that next thing that's going to get you that much closer to your next winner.
I love that. I love that. So do you want to share how it works? Or I don't see your screen in the bottom.
Yes, let
Do
me
you have to
pull
do
it
something?
here. I think I can share screen here. Okay, should be able to pull it on now, I think, to the screen, Minna.
Okay, perfect. I see it.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So, for those that haven't seen Anywhere POD before, this is kind of the platform when you first come in. You're going to want to connect your Etsy store, and then you can connect any of the suppliers that we have available down here. We have 8 suppliers right now and more kind of in process that we are working on bringing on board. We've done a few live streams and things with Luna before, so I'm not going to get into too much detail on those specifics. She has other videos on her channel you can go watch, or you can check out our channel. We have training videos there as well. As we said, the main thing we want to talk about today is this kind of new groundbreaking feature that we just launched yesterday, which allows you to connect your Anywhere POD account with Canva, allowing you to directly import any of your designs and functionality directly from Canva onto any print on demand product in Anywhere POD. So To get started, when you come in, you're going to have the option over here to connect to Canva. Super easy to connect. All you need to do is click on connect to Canva. It's just going to bring up a screen here and ask you to approve the connection with Canva. And that really just connects your Anywhere POD account with Canva so we can pull in any of those designs. So let's jump in now and take a look at an actual example. I have a couple ornaments here that that I have available that we're going to pull together. So I'm going to come up here to our product catalog, and I'm going to come over here on the right down to ornaments. And in this case, I'm going to use just our ceramic ornament here at the top. And you'll see here now, I have the option, instead of just uploading my artwork, I can click on this add from Canva option here at the top. This is going to pull in a list of all of my designs that are available on Canva, and I can import any of those. So you see I have this ornament right here that I already have all designed in Canva. I have multiple pages on this particular design, so I can select what page I want to import. And then you'll see I have two options here. One is I can import a PNG. So this is going to import your standard flat PNG. So you're not having to make sure to download at the right dimensions and then save it to your computer and come back over here and re-upload it. You can just do a direct import here without having to go through any of those extra steps, which is a big time saver in itself. Where this feature really shines, though, and is really going to save you an astronomical amount of time, is going to be in creating any of your personalized designs. So previously, if I wanted to create this design as personalized, I would have to build it in Canva and then remove the personalized layers, import that PNG into Anywhere POD, and then add the personalization back in Anywhere POD. So we know where that personalized text automatically needs placed when a customer places an order. Instead, what we can do now is just click this one button that says import layers. And this is now going to import that entire design from Canva into Anywhere POD automatically. And it's going to be imported as an editable template, like as though I originally created this in Anywhere POD. So now all I need to do is check the boxes for my text fields that I want to be personalized. I want the customer to be able to personalize when they check out. In this case, we're doing a circle ornament. And if I click on create product now, that's all I need to do to be able to set up that personalized design. And it's ready now. Of course, I'd want to come through and do the normal optimization steps that I would normally do, select my different mockups. You have all of the mockups that are available from the supplier are available to you in Anywhere POD. I would go through, set my title, my description, your tags. We do have an Etsy analyzer tool here that can help you find top performing tags. And then you can also generate a video so that that video can automatically play in the search results on Etsy. But as far as the artwork and the personalization setup, that's all I need to do. This product's completed, ready for me to publish over to Etsy. When I receive an order, I'm going to automatically pull in that information from the order. It's going to automatically generate that artwork for us in approval queue in Anywhere POD. So you can review and make sure everything's correct before you publish it over to Etsy or over to Printify in this case for fulfillment. So it really makes that entire product creation process a whole lot faster. So you can test more and more designs faster and faster.
That's cool. And so let's say that we want to add our thumbnail. Do you recommend we add the thumbnail on Anywhere POD, or do we do that directly on Etsy? Like if we have like a thumbnail template, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a few different options for that. One is anything that you normally edit in Etsy, you can still edit in Etsy if you want to. So like your title and tags, if you want to add those directly to Etsy, you can do that. If you want to add them here, you can do that. You do have the option here to be able to, as I said, select from any of the mockups that are available from the supplier. You can also upload your own mockups here if you want to. And then we also have a whole mockup template section over here. So if you're creating your own mockups, say in Canva right now, and you're having to download those and upload artwork and do that for every single step, you can actually create those mockups as a template in Anywhere POD and have those automatically generated on any of your products as you're creating them in Anywhere POD to save having to go through and do that manual work to create any of your mockups.
That's a game changer because I actually was going to ask you about that because a lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of the mock-ups from the print on demand
Hmm.
suppliers are pretty limited and you kind of want to, especially now, 2025, like having your
Yep.
own different mock-ups, guys, like makes all the difference. So so that ability in itself, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. What a life changer. Love that.
Yeah, yeah, it really saves a lot of time. And we do have a video over here. You'll see our training videos. We have a video on our YouTube channel that kind of goes over that in more detail. But you essentially just add your mockup template to Anywhere POD, so like your blank mockup, and then we're able to overlay that artwork on top of that mockup for you. Very similar to how it works when you're used to doing them in Canva, except we're able to then kind of automate that process with a single click whenever you create a new product in Anywhere POD.
I love that. So somebody's asking, is it only with Printify? So can you walk us through again all the different print on demand supplier you're connected with?
Yeah, yeah, sure. And then I do have another example I can show doing a blanket with some photo uploads that's pretty unique and saves a lot as well. So right now
Love
we have 8 different POD suppliers. I have them kind of pulled up at the bottom of the screen here. Some of these you've probably heard of, and some of them you haven't. So one of the strategies that we have with Anywhere POD is yes, having those popular POD suppliers that everybody's kind of used to using that has a lot of great products that definitely worth taking a look at. But then we also kind of focus on other suppliers that maybe have unique products that you haven't heard of, that are good quality, that really aren't out there to the masses yet. They can really kind of give you an edge over some of your competition, and because not everybody has access to these products. So you can see some of the kind of major ones we have is Shine On, Printify, Custom Cat, T Launch. Those are all probably four that probably at least most people on the call have heard of. Then we also have DecoPlate, who they're a really cool supplier, kind of the hidden gem in the POD world, in my opinion. They do like dinnerware settings, so they have a platter, a plate, a bowl, that sort of thing. Works great with the bundling feature that we talked about before, because you can give your customer the choice between the plate and the placemat, the mug, the bowl, the silverware, or they can buy with a single click an entire place setting. So it can be a great way to increase that average order value. MWW On Demand, you may have heard of. We have some of their products available in here. We mainly added them before Printify or anybody else had woven products. So you can get your woven blankets directly from MWW On Demand through here. Reliable POD is another one. And then we also have Usha Mercantile, which they are actually in the POD world, they're Anywhere POD exclusive provider, selling bed sets and pillows and a lot of really good, high quality, 100% cotton type of goods. So
I love that. Yeah. So, guys, like that's the other thing really that makes a huge difference as well. I mean, depending on how advanced you are, but as a beginner, having an edge with a product does make a difference. Last year, we had a couple folks inside our community who saw a lot of successes with the deco plates. And actually, before I jumped on the call, um, Chris, you were telling me that DecoPlate actually generates more revenue during Mother's Day and Father's Day than they do during Christmas.
yes. So last year, at least, so in 2024, their May and June season, so kind of the season of Mother's Day and Father's Day, they actually did more during that 2 month period than they did in the previous November and December. So really kind of a great sleeper product. Super, super high quality, 100% made in the USA, and really, really good profit margins without a lot of competition, because they don't have a direct integration themselves. So there's not as many people selling these products on Etsy. So it can be a great way to kind of get that edge on your competition. They do great for Father's Day and Mother's Day in particular, with that kind of personalized layer on top of it. If you start doing some research on these on Etsy, you'll see there's some great design options that are really unique for these products.
Absolutely. And guys, I mean, the other thing worth noting as well, and this is something I shared last year, like some of these dishes, I don't know if you guys know, but ring dishes are quite popular on Etsy, and
Hmm.
most of the time they're made by handmade sellers. And so, it kind of has the same shape. You can get away with calling it a ring dish. And that can be great for the wedding niche as well. And that's like another option that you guys can have access to. So, needless to say, like that's the beauty of using an app like Anywhere POD, because a lot of these suppliers actually like they don't have integrations as well. So it allows you to integrate to Etsy, and it allows you to have access to products that are a little bit more out of the box than your generic print on demand. And when you're a beginner, like you always want to find kind of like that low hanging fruit. So where is there an
Hmm.
opportunity for you based on your skill set and knowledge and design skills as well, right? Because obviously there's always going to be opportunities to make money with selling t-shirts. However, let's face it, you do need to be a more advanced seller or have decent design shops in order to, you know, sell shirts. And so having access to these different products makes all the difference, because you just need to have a simple Canva template, leverage it over and over again. Now, leverage Anywhere POD, to kind of like connect those two, so you don't have to like do all the back and forth, and that's going to make a huge difference. Plus, adding that personalization factor as well, right? So essentially, you have all the tools at your disposal to help you get those wins, right?
Yeah, and one of the hurdles for especially newer sellers as well, where you're just kind of getting in and learning how to create products and learning about all these different suppliers and everything, it can get a little bit daunting, right? Because if you want to list a product from each of these different suppliers, previously you would need to go learn, okay, how do I create and list a product with Shine On? How do I do it with Printify? How do I do it with Custom Cat? Like each one is a little bit different. So with our 8 suppliers, you have to learn, 8 or more different systems on how to list a product. With Anywhere POD, all you need to do is connect to your account. And once you learn how to create a product once, now that skill set is going to transfer across any supplier that we have, because every single supplier that we have in Anywhere POD, the product creation process is exactly the same across the board. So you're not having to kind of relearn how to create a new product every time that you want to utilize a new supplier. You just need to connect that supplier to your account, and you already have the knowledge that you need to be able to start listing their products effectively.
That I love that. That's such a difference. Do you guys have any questions for us? You guys are awfully quiet.
Yeah, I have one more example I can show maybe
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
while people are typing in questions. I can show kind of another example of a little bit more complicated product. So the one that we just did was text personalization. Still saves a ton of time because you're not having to reconfigure things. But where it really would take a long time to create designs is if you want to do something like a photo collage blanket. Having to set that up with all the different personalization images could get to be kind of a pain. We have that process completely automated now. So let's come back in here. I'm going to go to Custom Cat this time, and let's take a look at their blankets here. And I'm going to go here to the 60 by 80. Now, one of the things actually, before I show you this design and import it, one other feature that we've added, it's kind of a smaller thing, but it's kind of one of those things when I get into a situation where I'm having to repeat the same step every time, I think it gives me a rash. Like it just bugs me. I hate having to repeat these steps every time. So, we're in here designing products all the time, and every time I want to go create a new product, I got to go look it up in the catalog, find the dimensions, and then I have to remember, okay, 9450, and go over to Canva and type in 9450, and then type in 2450. I have to remember that back and forth. And then I have to realize that, oh, okay, this is a blanket and I can't design in that big of a size on Canva. So I have to divide this by 2 if it's evenly divisible. And if it's not, I have to divide it by 3. So all these kind of little steps that are just like annoying to me, right? So what we've also done is you'll see now there is this create new design button right here. And what that's going to do, not only for blankets, but for any of the products, you click on this button and it's going to open up a new blank template for you in Canva at the proper dimensions that are required. So you can see here this size 9450 by 12,450. That's way big, too big for Canva. So what should it be? all I need to do is click on create new design, and that's going to open up a new blank design for me automatically in Canva. You can see in this case it's 3150 by 4150, which is, I guess what in this case it had to divide it by 3. So it kind of does all that extra work for you, and you don't have to try to remember the dimensions as you're bouncing back and forth between tabs to create it. Again, this one's not, maybe as mind-blowing as the next feature I'm going to show you, but it's just another one of those little steps that saves you that additional time and additional work that you have to do on every single design that you go to create. We're trying to streamline everything as much as we can. So
I love that. That's such a game changer too.
yeah, especially I can't tell you how many times, even just to our customer support, somebody says, hey, how do I design for this blanket? Because I can't put those dimensions in Canva, because it's not, it's not an intuitive thing that you have to do. So we kind of automate that whole process, being able to start at the right design. And then when you import it to Anywhere POD, we make sure it's imported, exported out of Canva at the correct dimensions. So you're still getting the right size that you need as far as quality and everything goes. So
Somebody's
okay.
asking how do you bring back the design from Canva after you made it?
Yep.
Uh,
So I'm about to show you one more example of that right now.
Perfect.
So on this product, you know what? Let me actually pull this one up in Canva first, so you can really kind of see where the designs are coming from. So let me jump over to Canva here. And so I have this kind of photo collage blanket. So this is set up where we have personalized text at the bottom. We have some kind of additional artwork pieces on here with the background color. And then we have 9 images that we want the customer to be able to send to us to personalize for this listing. These 9 images are set up using Canva frames. So they're set up so they're all square and in the right size and everything that we need. So all of this will import to Anywhere POD with the individual layers already set up with our image cropper tool so that they're square and are all the right shape and all that set up for you. So previously, I would have had to take this design, download the images one at a time, remove the images, remove the text, and then reconfigure everything again and basically double all of my work in Anywhere POD. So let me show you now how this design will work with Anywhere POD. So I'm here on my blankets again. We're going to come back up to the same add from Canva option that I just showed you guys a few minutes ago. It's going to, again, pull up all of my designs. It puts the designs I've worked on most recently at the top, which is really nice. I just opened that design in Canva, and that immediately kind of puts it to the top of the list. I can always search up here if I need to. So all I need to do here is click on Import Layers. And this is gonna, in just a few seconds here, it's gonna pull in and download all 9 of those images. It's gonna grab the background that I have set up. It's gonna grab the text that I have set up, and it's gonna reconfigure all of that in the exact same way for me inside of Anywhere POD. So you can see here, we've got those 9 images. If I click on one of these images, you'll see here, they're all already set up as personalized, set up with our image cropper. So if you're selling on Etsy, you still need to have the customer send you an Etsy message or an email with their photo. But then when you go to upload that image, it's going to upload it with our cropper tool enabled. So you're going to be able to select the right portion of the image so it shows up correctly on the product. And again, all of this is already automatically set up for you. So those are all marked as personalized. All I need to do to complete this product is click on my text field here and mark that as personalized. And this whole product now is complete and ready to go. So if you haven't designed a product like this before, you may not realize how much of a game changer and how much time this is actually saving you. This is one of those designs. We do a live stream on Anywhere POD every Thursday, just showing people kind of how to create products and do that sort of thing. This is a design that we would literally spend, so this an hour long usually, we would spend almost that entire hour building this one design. We would build it in Canva, show you how to download it, show you how to download the 10 images you would need to be able to put this product together, and then how to add it all to Anywhere POD. So literally we cut out that entire time, and in just a matter of seconds, have that entire design imported and configured for you so that it's set up for personalization correctly the right way right out of the gate.
Somebody's asking, what about the fonts? Are the fonts taken from Canva?
So we don't have 100% parity between the fonts that are available in Anywhere POD and that are available in Canva. Because of licensing reasons, each font kind of has a different license with it. We do have a lot of the fonts are available in both, and it will automatically, you can upload your own fonts to Anywhere POD. So when you import a design from Canva, it will try to match based on the font name any of the fonts that either you've uploaded yourself or that are already available in Anywhere POD, and we'll try to match on those. If it can't find it, it's going to set it to a default font, so then you can make any adjustments if you need to then on that font.
And somebody's asking, what level subscription do you need for this to be available?
This is currently only available on our Pro Plus plan, which we do have. I don't know if you've dropped a comment in the chat yet. We do have a coupon
Oh, yeah.
code that is good until Monday. If you use, I think I did Luna Canva. If you use that coupon code, that will give you your first month free of Anywhere POD. But that's only available through the weekend. So make sure to
You
jump
did
in there and
Luna
give that a
Canva?
shot.
They just, hold on, they have to like do a coupon code? Is that it?
Yeah, it is. It is a coupon code. Let me make sure
Okay,
I
hold on.
told
I
you right.
will.
Yes, Luna Canva.
Okay, let me just put it and then I'll show it. So like this.
Perfect. Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
cool.
Yep. Yep. So if you put that coupon code in when you're signing up for the subscription in Anywhere POD, like I said, that'll give you the first month free. Or if you decide, you're all in and want to go ahead for the yearly plan, that'll actually give you an extra month off the already discounted yearly plan too. So that's an option for you as well.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, I'm adding the coupon here. Yeah, guys. So essentially, like that's going to be such a game changer because it's going to help you automate your process when it comes to creating these designs versus having that constant back and forth that you might have, and enabling you as well to add that personalization element that we know helps get additional sales, right? Is there any other cool feature you want to share that people might not be aware of? So like maybe walking them through kind of like the next steps once they start getting sales with a design like that.
Yeah. So I have a few other things that are kind of unique to Anywhere POD. Let me go back over here to my product list, and let's actually take a look at that ornament here that we did just a few moments ago. So here's one. This is the ornament that we did. This is our first Valentine's Day, right? So actually found this. It was a trending product on Etsy about a week ago is when I originally found it, which is a great product, right? So for first Valentine's Day. However, you're also only kind of catching a small portion of the user base with that, right? Because what if this isn't their first Valentine's Day, but they're still looking for a gift for their loved one? So with Anywhere POD, you can add a second message essentially to that same listing where from the variant option, they're able to select, do I want our first Valentine's Day? Or maybe I want one that says something like, my beloved Valentine. That is something that can be used kind of more evergreen, where if this is your, second, third, fourth, 50th, it still is a product that would do well for you. So to add that, all we need to do is come down here. We have this add variants functionality. And really this add variants function that I am showing you now is one of the probably next to personalization is our kind of second most popular feature, because you can really do a lot with this. If you want to add multiple products to one listing, you can do that. If I want to add multiple design options to one listing, really the possibilities are endless on what you're able to do and offer your customer, and essentially give them a layer of personalization that they can select right from the variant options in Etsy. So you're essentially able to take over the two variant fields that you have that you can set up in Etsy. You can essentially hijack those and make it be whatever you want. If you want them to select from a t-shirt or a hoodie, or birth flowers for birth months, or a different number of names if they're doing like a grandma's garden design, really the possibilities are endless. So back to my example here. in this case, I'm doing the same product, but I want a different design. So I'm going to come to the same product and go to start designing. We're going to do another add from Canva option here. Now, what I did was on this design, you can see here I have more than one page. On page 2, I have the same ornament, but I added a different variation of that kind of initial phrase. So if I select this time to import page 2, it's going to import that second page for me. That's going to have my kind of new updated phrase. So you can see here I have forever, my beloved Valentine. So again, all I need to do on this one is mark my 2 layers that I have here as personalized and click update product. And this time, instead of creating a new product, it took the variants that would normally be created with that product and added it to my existing product here.
I
So
love
now if I
that.
scroll down, you can see here I've got 2 variant options. I can see the artwork here. So now I just want to rename this. So I give the customer something to select from each option for, right? So we're going to give them the option to select between 2 different
The two different.
designs. And I want the first one to be, say, first Valentine, and then the second one can be, say, my beloved. Again, you're free to name those whatever you want. Like I said, you're hijacking those variant fields where you can now make that be absolutely whatever you want.
And that's amazing because, I mean, you used to have to do that manually, which is, again, a lot of work. And so I don't know if you guys noticed, there's actually a few kind of like Etsy sellers who are usually top performers who give multiple design options. So having that within your listing can also be a game changer because then it allows you to really go in after a more competitive niche. And instead of only relying on one design, hoping that it's going to work for you, you can give your customer multiple design and that can give you an edge. So if you see a competitor who's doing one design and it's working well for them, maybe you can actually find other designs that are doing well and then you just put them all in one listing. And then the beauty of that, it also allows to test like what you want to put in your thumbnails and showing your customers as well that they have the option to choose from all these different designs. And guys, like, like Chris was mentioning earlier, like going through that extra step, yes, it's more cumbersome. Yes, it does require more work up front. But again, it's about doing those extra steps to give yourself a chance to compete, right? Especially against more advanced sellers, right? And so this is why like the days of just like uploading a design and just like praying and waiting for it to give is not the right solution, right? Like it does require more than that. Obviously, it's still the process of like testing to see what's going to be your winning design. Obviously, there's still that component, but going that extra step and creating products that are personalized, creating product bundles where you're offering different kind of products in the same listing, having different kind of designs within as well the same listing, like that can be that can make such a big difference in your sales revenue.
Right. And like you're saying, like, yes, this is an extra step that I had to do, but it's so much easier than kind of how most people are doing it on Etsy now, right? Like, normally you would need to create this product as 2 separate products, manually create variants in Etsy, and you're copy and pasting SKUs and hope you copied it to the right field. Like it's just, it can get to be a nightmare, especially like you may be thinking, oh, this one's not so bad because it's only 2 variations. But when you start doing, anything that has more variations, that has, different colors to it or anything like that, like it just really gets to be really cumbersome and really hard to do. And this way, everything's still linked up for you automatically. It's going to automatically come through. We're going to select the correct product, the correct artwork. All of that is already all automatically set up for you. So, you start thinking about designs or listings that are a little bit more complicated, like, around the holidays and even kind of the wedding season, you'll see those themed shirts that's, most likely to, whatever, not make it, past the craps table in Las Vegas, like whatever the case may be, right? So they'll do these themed ones, or you'll see a lot of them for like family reunions, right? Which are great because a lot of times family reunion, they're buying it for the entire family, which is really nice. But they have the option to be able to select from these different designs. Traditionally, you would have to set those up manually and take hours to create those. With Anywhere POD now, everything's set up and linked up for you automatically, and it is way faster to get those types of listings created.
So I'm going to ask you a question that's a little bit out of the box because I mean, obviously you're integrated with print on demand supplier, but what about for
Huh?
folks who are dabbling with digital products? Because I love this feature for digital products. Like, would there be a way to use your software for that or not yet? Being a little
Yes,
devil's advocate.
so we do have some the functionalities a little bit different,
Mhm.
but we do have the ability to help you manage your digital download products here in Anywhere POD. Um, Really, kind of some of the main benefits you're getting if you're doing anything where you're creating mock-ups for your digital downloads, you can create that in Anywhere POD. You can utilize our Etsy Analyzer tool on digital products as well. Um, we also have some users that are like doing the Cricut style, where you're selling an SVG to people that have a
Yeah.
Cricut machine and are printing it themselves. So we have a PNG to SVG converter in here as well. We automatically manage if you have more than if you're doing digital downloads, Etsy has a limit of 5 files that you can
Mhm.
add to a listing. If you add more than 5, we'll automatically zip those 5 files together for you and publish that over to the digital listing for you. You can create videos from any of the mockups you have here in Anywhere POD. So some of the functionality is a little bit different from the POD side of things, but we do have some digital download functionality that, depending
I
on
love
your
that.
niche, there can help you as well.
I love that. I love that. Cool. So do you guys have any other question? I mean, guys, like this is going to be so revolutionary and it's going to be such a game changer to have the ability again to have your files like all in one place, being able to personalize things much faster than you used to, being able to have those templates directly within the software so you don't have to do all the back and forth. Game changer.
Yeah,
I love
and
that.
really now is a great time to start. I mean, as you know, it takes time to be, once you start listing products on Etsy before they're, really kind of in the Etsy's search
Yeah.
algorithm and able to start getting listings. We're really
Well, and
coming up
also
on
for
that time.
testing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
really coming up on that time with Mother's Day and Father's Day.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge season. Really, if you're not, already listing or at least within the next week or two, you really need to be hitting your listings hard for that season. That season is also excellent for personalization because there's so many designs that you can do with kids' names and grandkids' names and birth flower clip art designs that we support and that mom design where you can put like a file upload in the M and the heart and the M to make it say mom. So many different possibilities. The majority of what sells during Mother's Day and Father's Day is personalized, even more
Yeah.
so than it is. I mean, the majority, in my opinion, on Etsy anyway, is personalized. But especially for these two holidays coming up, it's even more so than it
Yeah.
is during something like Q4.
I agree.
Because I
100%.
mean, you're pulling on that heartstring, right? If you're a
Yeah.
mom and you get something with a kid's name, like, I know what I'm getting my wife for well, my kids are getting my wife for Mother's Day is gonna have their name on it. Like that's just like, you
Yeah.
know, it's almost mandatory now. If you're gonna really be able to take advantage of Mother's Day and Father's Day, you gotta be offering personalization. And there's no easier way to do it than with Anywhere POD.
And also something worth remembering as well is that Mother's Day in the UK is a little bit before the one in the
Oh,
US. So there's opportunities there as well,
yeah.
obviously by using suppliers that are based in the UK. But you're absolutely right. So, I mean, it's not just so there's Mother's Day, there's Father's Day, there's graduation coming up, then there's the
Yep.
wedding season. So, like, everybody's kind of like, oh, let me take a step back. Like, Valentine's just finished. Like, no, like, you guys have to hit the ground running because you're absolutely right. You have to give yourself a couple weeks also just to find those winners and find those winning
Exactly.
products,
And
right? And it's just something that doesn't happen right away. Like, you need to be testing and you need to be uploading what's going to work for you.
yep, and anything that you're building and testing, the work that you're putting in now, like a lot of times people think, oh, this is kind of the down season, like, and then they try to
Yeah,
get more into it as we get closer to Q4. I got news for you. Everything that you're doing now is going to sell for Q4 as well, right? If you're
exactly.
making a Mother's Day design, you're making a Father's Day design, graduation, whatever it is, like everything sells during Q4, right? It's like
And
the evergreen season.
And I love that you bring that up because last year we had a student who was struggling like all through January, like and all through March, whatnot. And then June, she finally hit a winner. And you think June, it's the summertime, like people are less active. And
Yep.
so she hit a winner. And guess what? That was also her winner during Q4. So that's why
Exactly.
like the consistency, guys, is so important. I know that sometimes it can feel overwhelming, like, oh my God, I'm just not seeing those results. But if you
Yep.
are consistent, I always recommend pick one product and pick one design template, right? Like that's just going to make your life much easier. And essentially just continue testing, 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 testing until you finally hit that winner. And you will with consistency, right? I mean, it all depends. And you also have to remember, guys, like it really depends on what kind of knowledge gap there is, right? Like, how long have you been doing this? Like, you're competing with people who are more advanced, but the opportunities are there. Like, I've seen it over and over again. Folks who've never sold anything online. And then 1 year later, they're like, oh my God, I made my first 100K on Etsy. They were consistent. They were
Right.
consistent. That's what differentiates like folks who are not able to crack it from folks who crack it. Consistency. Yeah.
Yep. And like you said, after a year they got there, right? So you're not going to
Yeah.
get that on month 1 or month 2.
Yeah.
Like it takes time. You're going to
Yeah.
have some down months, January, February, March, maybe a little bit slower time. That's the time that you need to be doubling down, right? It's like when the stock market goes down and people get nervous and they sell, it's like, no, it's on sale, it's on discount, then that's when you need to buy. During the slow time
Exactly.
on Etsy, that's when you need to be working harder than ever, getting your listings ready so that you're ranked in the algorithm, so that in a month or two when things start coming up, that you're already positioned there and ready to go and don't feel like you're playing catch up. And if you use a tool like
Exactly.
Anywhere POD, then when you do get that winner, you're not spending all of your time servicing the sales that you're getting. You're able to still continue to test and work on the activities that you need to do to get that future sale instead of spending all of your time, servicing the sales that you've already received.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that because I've had a couple students who had like a personalized item go viral out of nowhere and they did not have
Uh-huh.
any tools. And I remember they were like going through, I was like, oh my God, I have to like personalize all these listings. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and having to like
Yep.
bring in their spouse to help them with the process, which is a good problem to have. But yeah, you kind of want to anticipate that by using a tool. And I mean, at the end of the day, guys, like the other thing worth remembering, because I know one thing that I hear often is like, oh my God, but I have to pay for all these tools. Guys, you don't have to pay for Shopify. Like, like that's the beauty of Etsy is that you don't, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I hope they don't change it, but you don't need to have you're not paying a fee to be on Etsy. You just pay like the one-time fee. And so these apps that you are paying up front, like at the end of the day, it's going to be less than a couple $1,000s with everything included. And depending on how you want to set it up, but that's money that you will make back eventually. Like I said, a couple of our students went from not making any money to making like their first like 10K month and then 30K month. And then, oh my God, I made 60K this year, or I
Right.
made 100K this year. And so, I mean, that's just like nothing in comparison. And it's like anything in life, you have to have a little bit more skin in the game to see results, right? And again, as somebody who's who's done it all, I've done Amazon, I've done Shopify, I've done affiliate, like Etsy's so much more first beginner friendly. And the other thing is like you can bootstrap your way through Etsy, right? You don't need as much of a
Yep.
financial investment as anything else. But at the end of the day, you need to have data, you need to know what's going to sell and have an idea of like what are people actively looking for, and then you need an ability to do personalization.
Right. And it doesn't take long before it starts paying for itself, right? So, like you said, it's all about data and it's all about testing. So, if it takes you, a lot of times people will undervalue their own time. Well, my time's not, it's not worth anything. Like I'm working for free, like, and you undervalue your own
Yeah.
time, right? If you're spending, 5, 10, 15 minutes to create a listing thinking, oh, well, I'm saving the money, not having to pay for a tool. But if you use that tool, you're creating a listing in 1 minute instead of 10 minutes. Okay, well, now how many more listings are you going to be able to test? How much more are you going to be able, because it's a learning factor too, right? The more listings learn the things that you need to do to every listing you do, you're going to get just a little bit better at and a little bit better. So if you're
And
able
guys,
to
like,
create 100 listings in 100 minutes versus having to take 1,000 minutes to create 100 listings, it's going to end up paying for itself much, much faster, because you're going to find that winner faster than you are creating them just manually one at a time.
absolutely. It's a game changer. And guys, the other thing worth noting is that like it's the same game whatever you do, right? Like so if you were to doing to like TikTok affiliate and reviewing a video reviewing products on TikTok, like you have to do multiple products to see which one's going to hit for you.
Yep.
With social media, like when I started my social media journey, I mean, it took me like uploading a decent amount of content until I figured out, okay, like this is what's going to go viral. So, like, whatever it is you do, that's the process you have to go through, right? And obviously, for some, it's going to be faster than others. That's just the way it is. But so you have such a valid point, Chris, like by having access to something that allows you to upload faster, you're going to get that data faster because every time, guys, the other thing is every time you upload on Etsy, Etsy is actually a very sophisticated algorithm and it's going to tell you where there's opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen listings with garbage SEO rank well over and over again. Why? Because they knew how to create an irresistible listing, right? So a lot of times folks get kind of like caught up with the nitty gritty of like, what can I do to bring more traffic? And I'm like, well, actually, that's not the issue. The issue is your actual listing. So by uploading more variation, like I get questions where a lot where people are like, well, this is getting views, but it's not getting traction. Well, go back to the drawing board, take the data that this item is doing well for you and try to re-upload it at different ways and continue
Yep.
that process until you actually hit the jackpot.
Right. It's all about getting that product in front of the customer that they're willing to purchase. And if they're willing to purchase, Etsy's going to continue to reward you with more eyeballs and more purchases, right? At the end of the day, that's what Etsy wants. Etsy wants the exact same thing that you do, is they want people to buy your product. So they're going to try to list the products in front of the users that they're going to be most likely to purchase. So being able to get that testing kind of going, it's frustrating sometimes, right? As humans, unfortunately, really the only way that we learn is by making a mistake, right? How did
Yeah.
you learn to walk? You fell down. Like it starts when you're a kid. Like that's how humans learn, and you can't learn until you start making those mistakes sometimes. So you can't make the mistakes till you jump in there and start doing it. So the faster you make those mistakes, the faster you learn from them, the faster you improve, the faster you're able to get to that next hurdle.
Welcome to entrepreneurship, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about, I always say this, like, it's all about uploading mediocre listing. You're going to learn more for having a listing that's not good enough than having a listing you spent 5 hours on just to learn that it's not good enough, right?
Yep.
So I rather folks like upload something that they're not super proud of because that's how you learn. And again, guys, like this is what for everything. So a lot of times like people think, oh well, I've uploaded hundreds of listings and it's not really working yet. Oh, Etsy's too saturated, the days of Etsy are done. And that's unfortunately very flawed logic,
Yep.
simply because Etsy has plenty of traffic. There's plenty of stores. Actually, if you do research, you'll see and you scrape through Etsy's data, there's plenty of stores who just launched last year, this year, and are getting sales from one day to the next. You'll see listings that were uploaded just, a month ago, they're getting traction. Why is that? Well, because they understood what customers want, they put that in front of them, and they're taking action, right? So it's important to not play the victim. It's important to have a winning mindset, knowing that it's going to work for you. And then you'll see, guys, like you'll show up differently and using and leveraging tools that are available for you, like Anywhere POD, that allows you to upload more listing, allows you to have personalization, allows you to have product bundles as well. Like it's going to give you an edge over all your competition, right? An edge over folks who are just like in it for easy money. Like you're in it to win and you're in it because you're serious and you want to become a top 1% Etsy seller. So yeah, I love
Yep.
it.
Exactly.
All right, so let me share my link to my free training, guys. If you want additional information on how to get started on Etsy, I have actually a very thorough training in which I walk you through some of the common mistakes that Etsy sellers make. One of them being thinking that you have to go after unsaturated niches. So I actually teach you that you have to go after saturated niches. And this is a mistake I also made at the beginning. And then one more time, what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to share with you guys the code to use if you're interested in using Anywhere POD. So remind me, the code gives them access for how long?
That'll give them a free 30-day trial. So when you subscribe, put that code in, and that'll give you your first month for free. So you're kind of able to try everything out risk free. And I will mention too, real quick, if you have any questions at all, please reach out to our customer support. We're more than happy to help. We kind of pride ourselves in giving a fanatical level customer support. I always say we kind of give the level of support that I always wish that I had in online tools. So if you get in there and you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help kind of clarify anything or send you any tutorials that you might need that will help you out. And just don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll do our best as well in the comment section to reply back to you guys. And yeah, I'm excited about what's coming up for you guys for Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduation, wedding, and then yeah, getting ready for Q4. You're absolutely right, Chris. Like getting ready for Q4 happens now. You can't put it off until September, especially if you are more of a beginner, if you're a noob, like you have to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row before September, because September, unless you're an advanced seller like me, September is already too late. I hate to break it to you.
Yes, yeah, it's very tough starting in September to have much success. You're going to be kicking yourself in the new, you know what, if you wait that long. So,
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a gorgeous day wherever you guys are in the world. Talk to you
thanks
soon.
everybody.
Bye. Bye.